How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing really well, and welcome back to the Manchester City career mode here on FIFA 19, the second upload of the weekend. If you did miss it yesterday, we uploaded episode number 6 of this series, so if you don't want any spoilers, be sure to watch that one ahead of this one. We faced Liverpool at Anfield. We took on Hoffenheim in the Champions League, so there were some big games in that episode, and we're going to be continuing that theme in today's as well. But thank you for your support on that last episode. There's a few comments in there with suggestions for goalkeepers, potential signings that we're going to be covering in just a second as well. But before we go any further, guys, again, if you do enjoy this particular episode, you are still enjoying the series, be sure to leave a big thumbs up. It makes the world of difference to the channel and lets me know that you're really enjoying this series. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. That's really appreciated. And the next video you see after this should be some sort of preview for the next City game, so hopefully you will guys will enjoy that as well. But first things first, let's have a look at some of these recommendations. So we're certainly still looking into recommendations for goalkeepers. A couple of people actually mentioned going in for Kepa I can't say his surname, it's like Arrizabalaga, something like that. Only just signed for Chelsea, 24 years old, 83 rated, good goalkeeper. And I know this might sound really silly, but I actually think he might be too good of a goalkeeper if he's going to be playing back up to Ederson. 83 rated, 24 years old, you know, he's going to go on to be a great keeper. I don't think he's ever going to surpass Ederson, but I also think he's too good to potentially be a backup, if that makes sense. So we're looking for someone a bit less than that. And again, if you guys know of any goalkeepers, particularly goalkeepers that are good with the feet, that are young, let me know in the comment section down below and we'll skate those out. This guy, Kylian Mbappe, so many of you want me to sign him. And I'm a bit hesitant, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, he's only just gone to PSG technically, so we can't sign him yet anyway. We wouldn't be looking to sign him until next season, Season 2, so we'll see how we're feeling about it then. But it's just a bit of an obvious one, isn't it? I think he's someone that a lot of people are going to be signing in their career modes. I don't think we particularly need a right winger, which is where he predominantly play. Perhaps he could become our main striker once Aguero retires, but certainly something I'm not going to write off, but I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon. Maybe a season or two in. We'll see how he's developing. We'll see how our options are looking. And maybe then we'll go in for Mbappe. But I just think it's a bit too soon to be trying to prime away from PSG just yet. But let's have a look what kind of games we're going to be playing in today's episode. So in today's episode, I think I mentioned this yesterday as well, we've got Burnley kicking things off in the Premier League. We're then playing against Shakhtar in the Champions League, which is sure to be a tough one. And then ending off, speaking of tough games, with a match away at Spurs. So some tricky fixtures. I did forget to mention as well, just when we were looking at Mbappe. Again, if you can recommend a backup striker to me, we've got a couple of decent options on there. If you didn't see him on the transfer hub, let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll be sure to do some more scouting on those as well. We've had a couple of skate reports come back as well, guys, in the inbox. The first one being Alex Meret, a keeper that I mentioned that we could be looking at in the last episode. 75 overall, 21 years old. This is the kind of rating area that I'm looking at, really. Someone that's not terrible, obviously, that goes without saying, but 75, he's 21 years old. He's probably going to be looking in those low to mid-80s in his prime. He could be a decent backup goalkeeper in my opinion, so let me know your thoughts on Meret. And we've also got a skate back on Moussa Dembele, the striker that's recently gone to Lyon. He could be something that we look to bring in as a backup striker. Again, 76 years old, plenty of potential, decent for backup, could still do a job. Maybe we could find someone a little bit better than Dembele, I'm not quite sure. But again, let me know your thoughts and suggestions down below. Here we are then, guys. First game of today's episode. We're at the Etihad Stadium. We're playing against Burnley. This is a game you'd expect us to win, but I have made a couple of changes for the lineup. With it being quite a tough week, we've got coming up Shakhtar in the Champions League and then Tottenham. I felt there was a bit of rotation needed. Burnley certainly the weakest team, I would say, that we're playing in today's episode, but that does not mean, of course, that this isn't going to be a tough game. We'll see the lineup popping up on the screen in just a second. You can see we're the top scoring team in the league still, just ahead of Liverpool. I think it showed a similar graphic in the last episode, but still up there. You can see Mahrez there lining up as well, which gives you an indication of one change that we've made. But yeah, there's a few in today's lineup, which will pop up in just a second. So here's the lineup that we're going to be going with. Ederson in between the sticks remains the same as always, but the back four has changed a little bit. Danilo and Otamendi coming in alongside Laporte and Mendy. Midfield three remaining mainly the same, with De Bruyne and David Silva in there, but we've brought Frankie de Jong in for his first start in the Premier League, and then a front three that's seen 2/3 of that change, with Aguero staying in the centre, Bernardo Silva deployed out on the left, and Mahrez on the right. A bit lacking pace compared to the normal lineup, which is a bit of a concern, but I've got faith that we'll be able to get the job done. Hopefully will have enough possession that it won't be as much of a factor. But he's had Burnley lining up, Pope in goal, so no return for Joe Hart. Basta in there is a new signing. They've got Hallander, who I believe is also a new signing. Me and Ward also in the back. You've got Goodmanson, Cork, Defoe and Lennon, all obviously playing for them in real life. And then Kendrick and Chris Wood as a lone striker. So most of their signings appear to be in the back line. The huddling, as every team seems to do at the Etihad. Let's get into it and let's make sure we secure these 3 points in the first game. Like I say, Burnley are a team that can cause problems. They're going to play for set pieces. If it's going to be like real life, they're going to be looking to get the ball in the box. But it doesn't mean they're not capable of playing football. De Jong wins it back all early doors well though. And Mahrez, I'm hoping he's just managed to stay onside there. Can we spin inside? We can. Mahrez on that left foot. It's a great save by Pope, but the danger's not clear. Bernardo gets it back across. And the first sight of goal. Kevin De Bruyne leading the charge. Look at this, taking him out the game at will. Finds Red Mahrez on this right-hand side. What are we going to do? We need a cross option. Perhaps we go back to the edge. That's where we are going to go. Oh, I'll tell you what. That would have been something special. Going to look for the centre of the park. Look at Aguero's run. First time ball. Fantastic. It's got to be 1-0. Sergio Aguero. And that is the lead that we've been craving. We take the lead. It's not long before half-time. Absolutely cut through Burnley. That first time ball through to Aguero was absolutely sumptuous, and when he was in on goal there was no doubt of the outcome. He started really well the first 10 or 15 minutes, created a couple of really strong chances, but since then he's been a bit quieter. But look at that first time ball through there, and Aguero holds off the defender, slots it into the corner and gives us the 1-0 lead that I'd say we deserve in this game. Aguero, that's a great ball to Red Mahrez. Got the man at the back stick, we've got men arriving on the edge as well. We're going to go to the back stick. Oh, Bernardo. He never quite got that, did he? He never quite caught it on his weaker foot. So we've got 15 to go, remaining 1-0 up. We want to make sure that stays the same. So we've made a couple of changes, bringing on Sane and Toussaint. Toussaint's going to slot into the centre of the park with Bernardo Silva replacing the same position that David was playing. So sticking with the same kind of attacking-minded three in the middle, but just a few fresh legs in there. Throwing. Aguero. Can I get a double? Aguero! Oh, it's a good save by Pope. Still only 1-0 right at the end of the game here. Been so dominant, but at 1-0 there's always a chance Burnley could creep back into this. A second wouldn't go amiss. So there goes the full-time whistle then, guys. It finishes City 1, Burnley 0. Not the most convincing performance. We made lots of chances, but we weren't as clinical as I'd like. But we didn't have the super full-strength team out there, so any time you come in with 3 points is great stuff. And you can see here from the stats, dominant performance moving into that game against Shakhtar next. Wow. Well, this is something that you don't think you'd see in reality. We've got a transfer request from Vincent Kompany. He just isn't getting the game time, and he isn't, to be honest. He's not getting any game time whatsoever. We've got so much depth in that centre-back position, and it's hard to give them all match time. I don't want Kompany to go just because he's such an icon, and I think this is daft that something like this would come up for someone like Kompany, who's, you know, he's not a one-man club. Obviously, he's played at teams before City, but he's Mr. Man City, isn't he, right now in reality? So maybe we should give him a few more games. Maybe we'll start him in this game against Shakhtar or Tottenham in this episode, see if we can persuade him to stay. But that is just a bit daft, isn't it, really? Here we are then, guys, game number 2 of today's episode, and we're facing a very tricky tie away at Shakhtar in the Champions League. A game is slightly rotated, the team with the Tottenham game in mind coming up after this one, but Shakhtar traditionally a good footballing side, and away from home never an easy game. It's one of those when it comes out the pot you think, you know what, yeah, we'll take Shakhtar, but they play some nice football, and despite the fact they've lost a couple of the better players in reality this year, they have still got a big threat, and we need to be careful here. Let's take a look at the lineups. Here we go then, the lineup for Shakhtar Donetsk is going to be a pretty familiar one. There's no one in there that I can see that's a new signing, but I'm not going to pretend I know the Shakhtar team off the top of my head, if you know what I mean. That looks pretty familiar. Marlos and Tyson probably the standout names there. Two very decent players and very capable of causing damage, but you'll see from our lineup it's a very strong one. But from that last game, again, a couple of changes. You can see we brought Kompany, and I mentioned that he'd handed in the transfer request. Bit of experience on a night like this can't hurt, so hopefully I'll be one step on the way to him being persuaded to stay. Jesus, Sterling and Son are making up the front three. Bernardo Silva, of course, now coming in place of David in that central role, where I'm really enjoying him, and where I think long term he will be playing more regularly ahead of David probably. That's a good ball, you know, we could be in trouble. This is where Hoffenheim exposed us, but Edison claims it. In that Hoffenheim game, of course, we did have Zinchenko in that position. Mendy in there, full strength there on that side, so hopefully that'll help stopping us being exploited. But Sane, absolutely, what a touch. And look at Sterling at the back stick. Can we find him? Yes, we can. And that is what I would consider a classic Man City goal in real life. Great touch from Leroy Sané after some good defending down that left-hand side. Brings the ball down. Fantastic Jordan ball, and Sterling does that so well in reality. Just arrives at that back stick, and he does so here on his weaker left foot, I think it was. Just slides it in past Piatov, and we take a 1-0 lead in Ukraine. Get rid of that. Well played. Can we get a breakaway? Ball just won't quite sit, but Bernardo does well, and he does bring it away now. And again, Sané looking like a constant threat down his wing here. Look at the ball there. Go on, Jesus, take that in your stride. Not quite. Oh, he's giving a penalty. I was about to say well defended, but the referee points to the spot. And in 20 minutes gone, with 20 minutes gone here, we've got the chance, the luxury to go 2-0 up in Ukraine. I didn't think that was a penalty myself. I think that's a very soft... Oh, I don't know. He does catch him there on the turn. Maybe it is a penalty. We're going to have Gabriel Jesus up to take it. Can we put this away? We're going to try and go top right. Oh, the keeper saves it. Jesus, maybe it was a bit too telegraphed. De Bruyne brings it away. It's not over yet. Sané. Oh, could have been 2-0. Jesus. Good ball down the line, that is. It's Kyle Walker is bombing on. Going to drop that off to the edge. Look at Sané's run. It's Sterling that's picked him out. And that's 2-0. We put the penalty miss behind us. And in a reversal of the first goal, it's this time Sterling to Sané, who finishes it on the slide. And this is exactly why I don't think we need to go out and get an Mbappe anytime soon, because these two, both still pretty young, both have got big futures. And look at how well they link up as well. Not just in reality, on FIFA as well, apparently. Lovely finish on the slide. 2-0 up in Ukraine. And we're cruising at the moment. Sané. This time finds Sterling. Looking for the Jesus run. He gets there and behind. He's well knocked on. Oh, Bernardo's still going to come out with it just about. Look at that for a ball, though. Oh, it's 3-0. And we are absolutely stomping all over Shakhtar here. It's Kevin De Bruyne who gets the goal this time. Little bit of luck in the build-up, really, how it fell back to us. But a delightful chip back into the box by Bernardo. And De Bruyne takes it on the volley first time. And can the keeper do better? There's a lot of power on it, but straight down the middle. Perhaps the keeper could do better. De Bruyne, though, crisply struck. And 3-0. You've got to think that's game over in Ukraine. Need to be careful. Don't want to concede one before half-time and give them some sort of route back into the game. It should be straightforward from here on out. What a block that is by Kompany, though. And it still fell for them, and they have got one back. Oh, been such a dominant performance. I don't know where that goal's come from. It's a phenomenal block from Kompany in the first place. Look at this, takes it right in the face, and then it's all just a bit chaotic. Falls for the Shakhtar player, and he taps it in there, and Malchev gives them a ball, gives them a route back into the game here, but we should still be able to see this out, you'd think. Got the ball in behind here. It's Jesus. We find Sterling. Can he take the chance? Yes, he can. That's game over. 4-1. You can't see Shakhtar scoring another 3 now to even bring it level. Never mind lose the game. It's been coming. We've been so dominant in this game. You ask yourself, where was this in a Hoffenheim game where Hoffenheim dominated us, but Shakhtar clearly not on the same level. And where we've taken the game to them. It's Jesus that's linked up the play really well in this one. Fine Sterling. Great finish. Well, with the game being pretty much sewn up now, we're going to make a couple of changes to help see this over the line and to give some younger players some game time as well. We're going to be bringing on Brahim Diaz and 2 starting players of Sané, who's been absolutely electric, and Bernardo Silva, who's a little bit low on the stamina front. So Brahim Diaz getting some game time, someone again that I would like to get on the pitch as much as possible. And with that is the 4-time whistle. It's a very comfortable night in Ukraine, more comfortable than I actually expected, but we did get off to an absolutely stonking start, and when that happens, when you get that early goal, sometimes these teams can be opened up. Put some really, really nice moves together as well in that game, but you can see it finished 4-1, 6 shots 4 on target for Shakhtar to the 16 shots on 12 on target from ourselves. Another dominant display. The only difference between that one and that Burnley game is the fact that we put the ball in the net a bit more regularly, which is a good sign now because we're going into this Tottenham game. Here we are then, guys, the final game of today's episode. And where is it taking place? At the new Tottenham Stadium. Built on here, and we're playing before we've actually played there in real life. Of course, this fixture in reality isn't going to be played at the new Tottenham Stadium. I think it's going to be played at Wembley, if I remember correctly, because that's still been all finished off. But we'll be playing there today, and it's a big, big game. Just like in the previous episode, the big game is safe for the final one of the episode, and Tottenham is going to be a tough game. They've got a great squad. It's going to be interesting to see if they brought anyone in. Of course, in reality, very well known that they didn't sign anybody at all in the transfer window. The only club to have ever done that in history, to have gone the whole summer without bringing in a single new player. So Going to be interesting to see if they've done the same on this career mode, if they have added a couple of new faces. So here is the Spurs lineup for today's game. They've got Hugo Lloris in between the sticks. So back four is Sidibe, Alderweireld, Sanchez and Walker Peters. So Sidibe, a new signing there. Eric Dyer and Wanyama anchoring the midfield. Then they've got Lucas Eriksson and Kingsley Coman ahead of them with Kane up top. So Coman and Sidibe, the new signings. I'm looking on the bench having a quick glance. I didn't notice anyone there that was new. But here's the lineup that we're going to be going with. Ederson in between the sticks, back to that familiar back four of Walker, Stones, Laporte and Mendy. Midfield three, we're going with De Bruyne, Fernandinho and Bernardo Silva. I mentioned it before. We've got Sterling, Aguero and Son ahead of them, but I mentioned before about Bernardo. Really enjoyed him in that central role, so he's going to be keeping out David temporarily, and that might be a bit of a surprise to some people, but yeah, really enjoyed him in that role. Straight away, Coman getting down that side. Very dangerous player. And we're 1-0 down inside 2 minutes at the Spurs Stadium. What's it even called? I don't even know what the Spurs Stadium's called, to be honest, but it's Christian Eriksen, and it was Kompany who initiated it all, you know, that electric pace down the left-hand side. No one really close enough to him. Walker couldn't quite get back at him. It was there, it was meant at the back stick, and didn't really clear it as we would have liked, and Eriksen finishes it well. What more can you say? 1-0 down early doors, and we have got a game in our hands already here. Barney. Everything going through Sane at the moment down this left-hand side. Mendy. Let's drop it back. Can we work something from the other side? We've got space on this right-hand side now from Sterling. Wasn't the best ball. Tell you what though, Bernardo Silva will go for one here. And it's well saved by Lloris. Well in Fernandinho. Still falls for Eriksen though, but that's well intercepted by De Bruyne. Nice big quick football. That's beautiful stuff. We've got Bernardo in here. He has got work to do. I'm looking at that back stick. Oh, we didn't pick the right option, did we? Come on, we need to stop the cross here, and we're nowhere near him. The ball's come in. Well defended in the end. Eriksen, great. What a goal. Christian Eriksen. I swear to God, on career mode, I have Christian Eriksen's like some sort of curse against me. He always scores on every FIFA, but look at this. Flicks it around the corner. First time on the volley. And this is looking like it could be our first defeat in the Premier League this season. And what more can you say than take a bow, Eriksen? What a goal. We're going to go after attacking here. We're going to try this tactic. We've not really had to call upon it too much. So let's give this a go, shall we? And let's try. I want to bring Jesus on. And we're going to bring him on for Sterling on this left-hand side. This is how we're going to line up now. Let's take off Bernardo as well. And bring on David. And then we might bring on Mahrez a bit later on. But formation change going a bit more narrow. A lot more attacking with Mendy and Walker really being encouraged to push on even more than normal. Can we come back into this game? If we're going to get a draw out of this game, we need a goal imminently. And even then, we're going to be asking a lot. What can we do? Jesus. I'll tell you what, it's picked out a great ball. It's Aguero. Give us hope, Sergio. Oh, it's just been one of those games. Sane. Oh, flipping heck. Well, there it is, guys. The full-time whistle. It's our first loss in the Premier League, coming away at Spurs. We had the chances as well. We just weren't clinical enough, and Spurs were. It was a great second goal from Eriksen. You can't take that away from the guy. But first loss of the season. And I want to say that's the first game we played in where we haven't found the net either. So ending on a bit of a low point here. So here we are then, guys, at the end of the episode. And you can see that defeat to Spurs really closes things up at the top of the table. It's looking, I mean, it's really early doors, obviously, but like a two-horse race after the first 10 games. And you can imagine, if we'd have won that game, we'd have been on 28 points, and now we'd have been on 21. So we would have really pulled out a big gap. But as it is, 25 points for us, top of the table. Spurs in second place. It looks like we're developing a bit of a battle here, but that is going to end off the episode, guys. Again, if you did enjoy it, your support on this series in every episode seems to be incredible, so make sure to leave a thumbs up on it again and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will speak to all you guys in the next video, but yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Nidge out.